Hello, I'm Mrs. Johnson, a third grade teacher from George Mason Elementary School. Today we are going to learn about comparing and contrasting. I'm going to share my screen with you. In the meantime, please grab a writing utensil as well as some paper. All right, here we go. All right, so let's read our learning target together. I can compare and contrast two characters from the same story using evidence from the text. Notice our keywords are compare and contrast, and most importantly, we are going to use clues to justify our answers today. So let's talk about what does compare and contrast actually mean. When authors are writing, they often discuss people, places, things, and/or ideas, describing how they are alike in ways they are different. When we compare, we're telling how two or more things are alike or the same. When we contrast, we're telling how two or more things are different. And there are signal words that help us to understand when an author is comparing and contrasting within a text. Some of those words are both, to, like, also, and in the same way. Those words are clues for comparisons. When an author is talking about differences or contrasting, we may read words like but, only, however, unlike, and different. All right, so let's go to our story for today. The title of our story is Peacock and Crane. And we also have an illustration that helps us to understand who Peacock and Crane are. So it's very good to use your illustrations to make connections to your title. So please follow along with me. Meeting by chance one afternoon, two birds stared at each other's feathers. Peacock spread out his fan-like tail and puffed himself up to block Crane's path. On his short legs, Peacock acted quite full of himself. He sneered at Crane, whose feathers lacked color. He mocked Crane's different sort of legs, so tall and skinny. Feast your eyes on my fannery, Crane, boasted Peacock, strutting as he spoke. Notice how my plumes sparkle with every color of the rainbow. But you, poor Crane, are common and dull with feathers as gray as ash. Crane felt confident and chose to address Peacock with gentle words. I agreed that peacocks have lovely feathers. Yet among birds, what good is that? Then Crane quietly spread his wings and took to the sky. Follow me, Peacock, to enjoy the true value of feathers. Alas, Peacock remained stuck on the ground. He could not fly. Sleek gray Crane soared freely on his powerful legs. Okay, so remember our learning target was comparing two characters within the same text. So we want to do a quick summary about our characters. Okay, so really quickly, let's summarize our text, being mindful that we are looking for clues for comparing and contrasting. So one of the first statements that we read said two birds stared at each other's feathers. And then we went ahead to summarize Peacock. Information about Peacock included on his short legs, sneered at, mocked Crane, plumes sparkle with every color of the rainbow, and he remained stuck on the ground. All right, now information about Crane. Crane feathers lack color. They were gray as ash. His legs were tall and skinny. Crane felt confident. He spoke with gentle words, and he soared freely. So we're going to use this information to help us to complete a T-chart about crane and peacock, comparing them and contrasting. At this time, I would like for you to take your paper. You can fold it to the shortest line of symmetry to create equal parts. And at the top, write compare on one side, and on the opposite side, I would like for you to write the word contrast. Remember that when we compare, we're looking for similarities or information that's the same. And when we contrast, we're looking for those differences. So take a moment and create your T-chart. And I'm going to pull up the T-chart that we're going to use together. All right, so let's talk about what did they have that was the same. So first we know that they both were birds, and they also had feathers. And that was a part of our first statement that we wrote. Peacock legs were short. Crane's legs were tall and skinny. Crane feathers lack color. Peacock's feathers sparkled with every color of the rainbow. Peacock was cocky, boastful, and rude, whereas Crane was confident and gentle. Lastly, Crane could fly, and Peacock could not. So I want you to take a minute and write down your information on your T-chart. Sorry, I went too fast. Let's go back. Right. And if you need to, you can pause the video and resume when you're ready. Okay, this is another graphic organizer. It is called a bubble map, and you can make this one as well. Flip your paper over. You can just use the opposite side, and let me stop sharing my screen so I can show you. All right, so I just drew my larger circles first. I also folded this paper to the shortest line of symmetry to create those equal parts. I put a large circle in the middle of each. Then I presume to write 3 circles or draw 3 circles in the middle of those. That's your comparison area. And then on the outer parts, I drew 3 more circles. That's where you're going to contrast. In the middle is where you're going to put your 2 subjects that you're comparing. So peacock and crane. Okay. So this is just another way that you can demonstrate the similarities and differences when you're comparing 2 subjects or objects. All right, so we're going to start in the middle with the comparison. They both had feathers, they both were birds, and here I wrote they both were confident. Peacock was confident in that he felt like his feathers was all that he needed, and it just made him feel really good about himself. Whereas Crane was also confident even though he did not have the feathers. We infer that Peacock was confident based on his actions, but with Crane, the text actually told us that he was confident. Crane was gray and dull, as we noted in our summary. Peacock was bright and colorful, those great adjectives. Crane was tall and skinny, where his legs were tall and skinny, and Peacock had short legs. This was the kicker. Peacock could not fly, whereas Crane could fly. So just another way to demonstrate your understanding when you are comparing and contrasting within a text. All right, so homework for today. I would like for you to compare and contrast yourself to an adult in your life. It could be a parent, teacher, family member, coach, or neighbor. Any adult that you would like to take the time to identify 3 things that you have in common with that individual and 3 things that are different. Make sure when you are writing your answers that you start with a capital letter and end your sentences with a punctuation mark. And make sure your sentences are complete, that you're writing a complete thought and not phrases. All right, boys and girls, that's it for us today. Thank you so much for joining us as we journey this week and learning about comparing and contrasting. I'm really grateful that you joined us, and we look forward to seeing you on tomorrow.